If you want to sell $10,000 websites, you can't talk like a freelancer. You have to think and sell like a strategist. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to close high ticket web design deals, even if you've never closed them before. And the first point that we come to is the mindset shift. I'm going to go through a ton of different steps, but to preface all of this, you have to think of the two different ways that people sell websites. So you've got the freelancer who usually sells the time, so they sell hours. A high ticket, let's say specialist or a high ticket agency, they will sell the outcome. So I don't really need to go too deep into this, but essentially when you're talking to a client, don't say, oh, this is going to take 10 hours. You want to frame it that you're giving them a high performing website that's going to convert visitors into whatever they want to do on that website. So never put it in the frame of hours, because this will always have the client on your back. It will always have them analyzing how long it took, when in reality, it doesn't matter how long it takes. If you're able to do something quicker, why should you be penalized for it? I mean, this is being covered at length. I think there's a guy called Chris. What's the YouTube channel? Can't remember. But he has this thing where he does like a role play with one of his students. And he's like, okay, so it's going to be $10,000 and I can do it in 2 days. And the guy's like, well, if you do it in 2 days, surely it can't be worth $10,000. And he's like, well, it could take 2 months or 2 years if you want. And the guy's like, well, no, I want it quicker. And so he says, why should I be penalized for being quicker and being more skilled? So often, well, in fact, almost every single time, it is better for you to charge for the outcome. And it's better for the client as well, because they're not stressing on the minutiae, on all of the small things. So step one is going to be building the offer itself. If you're trying to sell high ticket, you need to know what high ticket is and what your version of it is. So the main thing that's going to differentiate you from someone who just gives a bog standard design is going to be the strategy behind it. So can you explain to a client why you've done what you've done, why the call to action button goes here, why the hero section has left aligned text, or why it has a certain background image? Is that better than a video in this instance? You need to be able to make all of these strategic decisions, not just design. So a lot of clients, when you start working with them over 10K, let's say, I certainly noticed this shift is they will defer to you on almost everything. So when you work with, let's say, a 1 or a 2K client, they know everything. They know exactly what they want, and they just don't have the time to do it. And so they don't really value your input. You're just a pixel pusher. We want to avoid being the pixel pusher. Obviously, we're going to be pushing pixels, but we need to almost take the lead. So when you go, and I'll come on to this a little bit later in the video, but when you go to a doctor, you don't say to the doctor, maybe you do, but most people don't say to the doctor, hey, I've got, a cyst on my finger and it's this, and this is exactly what I need. And I know what this is and this is and this is. Maybe with ChatGPT that's changed, but you will usually go to the doctor and you'll say, okay, I've got this like crazy thing on my finger. I don't know what it is. I'm freaking out. The doctor will ask you some questions. You'll tell them the answer, and then they'll say, hey, it's this. This is what you need to do to treat it. Okay, now you're cured, basically. Quite reductive, but you get what I'm saying. To bring that back to a client, when you're on a call with them, you need to lead and say, hey, okay, you've told me what your goals are. You've told me what your vision is. Now it's time for you to trust me. I know what the goals are, and this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. If you can explain that, you will attract so many more high ticket clients. And if you can get across that value on an initial sales call, then that is going to wow the client. It is going to set you apart from all of the other designers who are just like, oh, I've got a nice portfolio. You've got to bring something more to the table. Things are even more competitive than they ever have been, to be honest, especially with AI. And this is another thing. So you have to be better than AI. Think of it like this. If a client can go to Lovable or something similar and go, I want a website. I want it to have rounded buttons. I want it to say this. I want it to look like this. And they get, a fairly decent website that's usable, well then what value are you bringing? Like, you have to ask yourself honestly, are you better than AI? If you're not, how can you expect a client to pay, even 3K plus when they can just speak what they want into an AI builder and get something respectable? Now, you need to be, you need to have this moat, an AI moat around you. If you can do things that AI can't, strategy is the biggest one. If you can do those things and you have taste, then great, you're AI proof. But most designers they're just not. There's not much thinking other than, I think this looks nice, I'm going to see what the client says. So just be honest with yourself. And if you aren't better than what AI can come up with, or even a template, then you have to upskill. So go back to the drawing board and re-educate yourself around design principles, around strategy, around code, all of these things that make you far more useful to a client than just one thing. You have to be multifunctional now, or multifaceted, shall we say. And that brings me on to the next point, which is, can you offer other things within your offer? So a high ticket offer doesn't necessarily just mean I just design the site and maybe there's a bit of strategy. What about writing the copy? What about doing the search engine optimization, the LLM optimization, the consulting around the brand and what they want to do? Can you do graphic design, branding, logos, color palettes? Can you bring all of this together in a turnkey solution? If not, okay, well, maybe it's time to source the people who can bring this to life. So I'll give you 2 examples. When I was a solopreneur, and this was only like a year ago, I would say, hey, I don't do this. I specialize only in Squarespace websites, right? But I have let's just say like a little black book of pros who I can refer you to. I can put you in touch with in an email thread, and they can make it happen, copy-wise, SEO-wise, etc., whilst we're building the website. So it is almost like a package, except they don't have to pay it all to me. They can split it between all these different pros. That works really well if you don't have a huge amount of capital, you don't want to manage a huge team, and you want to stay pretty lean. Now, things are a lot more competitive. They're so competitive, not just because so many more people are coming into the market, but because of AI as well. And so if you really want to get to the top, 10K, 20K, 30K plus clients, you need to try and bring everything together under one roof. So a year ago, I kind of realized this, started to build a team. Now we have enterprise host. So on top of Squarespace web design, we have enterprise hosting with Squarespace. We have search engine optimization, so one-off or ongoing. We have, what else do we have? Hourly consulting or coding expertise. So you hop on a call and do some consulting or whatever it may be. Then we have copy. Then we have branding and like logos, color palettes, etc., pitch decks, anything a client could possibly want under one roof. And we can sell this in tiers on a proposal. And this has landed, I would say, maybe 100, 150K per year of extra income. So I think in 2024, we've done about 400-500K. It's looking like in 2025, we'll do 700-800K. Now, I can't attribute all of that to having a larger team, but a lot of it comes down to the fact that we can offer these larger clients a much more bespoke suite of services. So if you can add freelancers to your network that can help with this, or build a team around this, then you're going to stand out and you're going to land much, much bigger projects. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you need to actually attract the right clients. So this is kind of entwined with step 1, but this is sort of putting the bat signal out to these high level, high ticket clients. So first of all, it's going to be your positioning. When someone lands on your website, is it just you? And hey, in fact, every time I go on a freelancer's website, I am shocked by how blinkered they are to who they work with. So I'll do some digging. I always like to check out people's sites, and they always say, "Hey, I help small businesses in location," and that gets me thinking. Well, and these people are complaining, by the way, about not making enough money or wanting to make more money. And I think, well, you are handicapping yourself by only working with a very specific type of business in a very specific location on a very specific platform. It's like, pick a difficulty level and stick with it. You're playing on the most difficult level possible with 3 different niches. So what you need to do is, first of all, look internally. Okay, what are our services? That's step 1. And then what are we saying, step 2? So if you want to work with these 10K, 20K clients, well, say that you work with them. So on my site, if you go to buycrawford.com, you'll see that we have like lots of different clients listed: nonprofits, churches, tech companies, medical companies, lots of different types of clients who will have these budgets. We don't tend to work with small businesses. It's usually medium to large, like enterprise businesses. Like, for instance, we've worked with 3 of the Fortune 500 in the past 2 months, which is just like nuts to think about, that these people want Squarespace websites. But that's because I went through 8 months of hardship repositioning the whole By Crawford brand. The whole website was redesigned with this in mind, positioning us as the one-stop shop, the ultimate in Squarespace website design and almost web design in general. And the one thing that I wanted to get across was, hey, we can build things that you had no idea were even possible. And so we had to do that on the site. We had to make a site that looked impossible to be built on Squarespace. That subtly tells a client, hey, like, this is what we do. Now, moving on from that, you've got your portfolio. It's all well and good having your own site, say, hey, this is what we do. But what about the work that you do for other businesses? So in your portfolio, you need to show off, yeah, okay, we do nice work, like really solid work that, you probably don't think could be built on Squarespace. Great. But what are the results? What are you actually driving for these businesses? Because the high ticket businesses, the high ticket projects, they come about. So usually they'll have like an RFP, request for proposal. And the brief is like, we want X from this project. We want to see an uplift of, whatever percentage in click-through rates, or reduction in bounce time or bounce rate. Lots and lots of marginal gains and reductions where possible. So you need to, in your portfolio breakdown, say, we achieved X result for this client because of Y that we did with the site. So explain what you did, going back to the strategy, why you did it and what the outcome actually was. And then lastly, try and spin up some lead magnets. The best thing that you can do, if someone's not ready to buy just yet, let's say they are making a decision and it's going to take them a few months, give them something of yours to go away with. So we have a lead magnet that's like Squarespace versus Wix versus Webflow, and then I think it's versus WordPress as well. So like a comparison of the 4 biggest website builders. So I can give that to a client to sort of chew on for a while they're in that decision-making phase. And then there's a call to action to like get in touch or book a call. But it's a really, really stellar quality throughout. I had the graphic design team mock up like the sickest lead magnet you can make. And so what this does is it keeps you, I guess not top of mind, but close to top of mind for these clients when they come to make a decision. Not only are they going to weigh up the platform, they're going to weigh up the quality of, or the perceived quality of you via the lead magnet or the content of yours that they've consumed. Also, you're then going to have them on your newsletter, so you can follow up with, sort of soft touch-ins with them to stay roughly top of mind. This is something that most designers just don't seem to do, or they don't seem to do it well. It's like an afterthought. But realistically, you want to have your own newsletter. You want to own that list, own your audience. Really important. Now, step 3 is once you get someone onto a call, you need to run it like a pro with like surgical precision. And this is what I've been doing for maybe 6 years. I think about a year or so in to my journey on sales calls, once I'd done 100, 200, I realized, okay, this is the formula that works. And the formula that works is the doctor's approach. And this is what I was talking about when I don't know why I said cyst on my finger. I don't have cysts on my fingers, I promise. But anyway, the doctor's approach is when you hop on a call and you just say to the client, how can I help? That's it. Like, I can tell you 99% of my calls, right? They will be, the person will come into the Google Meets and I'll go, oh, hey, Larry. And then Larry will go, hey, Sam, how are you? And then I'll go, I'm great. How about you? Yeah, I'm good. Whereabouts are you based? Oh, I'm in the UK. And then I'll turn my camera and I'll show them Liverpool. And then they go, oh, I'm in San Diego, whatever. And then I go, okay, cool. So how can I help? And that's it. There's like 20 seconds of intro. Then I ask how I can help. And then they just talk. Because they don't really care that much about you. They care about talking about their problems, getting everything across, and then getting your strategic input throughout. So if something interesting comes up, make a quick note of it. I circle back once they're finished and say, hey, you said this. I think this. You said this. How about this? You said this. Here's an example. So show your worth on the call, but let them do most of the talking. Someone who is charging 10K for a site, they're not coming onto a call and going, oh, hey, Larry, I can do this and I can show you this. And Larry is it's called commission breath. If you are so desperate to get that sale, they can smell it a mile off. Larry is going to go, oof, what did you have for dinner? And he's just going to go off the call and never, ever hire you. And even if he did, he wouldn't respect your rates and would try and lowball you to like 2K. So you need to control the narrative on a call. You need to come on, listen to their issues, what problems that they need to have solved. And then you need to try and offer some soft solutions on a call. Hey, well, based on what you're just saying here, I think we could do something like this. I actually did this for a client, last year. Maybe pull up the link, screen share. We done this and this and this. I actually structured the hero section like this and we saw X amount of uplift. What do you think? Let Larry speak. So you're controlling. Don't let them interrogate you. And most clients won't anyway, but you should be the one asking the questions. And then once you're finished, so usually it'll take about 10, 15 minutes. If you're on for 30 minutes, something's gone drastically wrong on the call, unless you and the client just end up waffling about life. But once you get to the end of the 15 minutes, let's say, you need to outline, again, with surgical precision, the next steps. Next steps are always going to be, okay, let me use Larry as the example. Cool, thanks for your time, Larry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send over my onboard form in about a minute or two. Once you fill it in, I can get your full proposal and we'll go from there. Bye, Sam. Bye, Larry. Done. So straight away, I'll go over to my email. I'll get my templated email that I send. It's like, hey, name. So replace it with Larry. Hey, Larry, great to chat. As promised, here's the onboard form. Send the onboard form. I wait for Larry to come back. Really, really easy. Then we've got step 4, which is your pricing and then the proposal structure. So coming back to one of the initial points, we want to anchor with value and not hours. So in my proposals, I don't say, this 5-page website is going to take 50 hours and we charge $150 an hour. You don't want your client doing maths. You don't want them to get all this decision fatigue. You just want them to say, okay, I get 5 pages. These are all the deliverables that I get. So what do I actually get? Who's the team behind it? What does the process look like? What's the price? Why is the price the price? Explain it all. Never, ever go in with hours unless it's like a really small job and you're like, yeah, okay, I can only really charge hourly for this. That's the only time I would ever use it. Or if you need to do a screen share with a client. Then you want to use a bit of pricing psychology. So in the onboard form that I send, so this is before the proposal, I have 3 different tiers. So you'll see tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. In tier 1, it's our cheapest tier. It's like 4 pages. And you can go to my site and check this out. We have it listed on the site. It's like, check it out. But tier 1's 4 pages, no code, 1 revision, I think. And then I show some examples. Then you've got number 2, which is, I think, up to about 7 pages, some code, and what else? I think maybe a 2 revision cap, something like that. I'm trying to test myself here. And then tier 3 is like pretty much unlimited everything. Start at 18k and then just goes upwards. So you have this thing where not many people go for tier 2. They will often just go in tier 1 or tier 3. Now this is price psychology. So tier 1 is I think 3.5 or 4k. Tier 2 is about 6 or 7k. And then tier 3 is 18k plus. So it's a big jump. Not many people are going to go with tier 2. And initially this wasn't by design, but I found that it was really effective. So I kept it in and I refined it over time. So try and anchor your first and your third, your tier 1 and tier 3, should I say. Tier 2 is kind of redundant. Now with the tiers, you don't want to show this in the proposal. I had a student who he was trialing this out. And he was like, Sam, I've got the 3 tiers, like you said, and I've got it in the proposal. I was like, what do you mean in the proposal? And he showed me. And basically, he had put the proposal together with 3 different options for the client to tick. So it was like, if you want tier 1, it's 2k. If you want tier 2, it's 4k. If you want tier 3, it's 8k, whatever. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. So when a client comes into your onboard form, which is where the tiers should be, they know they're going to make decisions. They know they're answering questions. When they come onto the proposal, they just want one thing. Don't give them decision fatigue. Don't give them paralysis by analysis. You just want one price for one set of deliverables because they've pre-consented to these deliverables at this price by filling in the form. So don't make it more difficult than it needs to be and make sure you sequence things correctly. Now, step 5 is going to be the follow-up sequence. Now, this is pretty simple, to be honest, but most people, and I find this is mostly people in the UK and Europe who struggle with this, and this is following up. So if you don't get a response from sending your onboard form or sending a proposal or an invoice or whatever, people are scared to follow up. They think, oh, the client's going to think I'm rude. They're not going to think you're rude. They are busy people. They're business people. They're going and doing things. Your proposal probably isn't top of mind for them. They're too busy doing whatever their business does. So make sure you follow up until you get a no. I was on a call so it's Wednesday or Thursday today. I was on a call on Monday and it was with a client who he booked in for a call in November of 2024. It's now August 2025. We've now just had our second call because I chased him every couple of weeks like clockwork. Hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see? And I just kept going on and on and on. And he was like, yeah, cheers, Sam. We've just been super busy, blah, blah, blah. I think they opened a new studio or whatever. And he was like, yeah, cool. All right, we hopped on and we talked and it was fine. Clients don't care. They are just busy. So once you've sent something, the next message should be, hey, name, just want to make sure that you caught this. And that's like the most inoffensive way of being like, yo, did you get this? Could you send me a message back? It's like, just making sure you caught this. It works so much or so well. And I use it all the time, maybe 10 times a day when I'm sending out follow-ups. So make sure you follow up. Make sure you keep following up. Give a bit of variation to your follow-ups. Don't just say, just making sure you caught this, just making sure you caught. It's like, it becomes this weird like echo. But don't be afraid to follow up because following up is where the magic happens. You'll close so many more people just by following up. Most people don't say yes on the very first call or the very first time you email them a proposal. It takes 1 or 2 follow-ups to get them across the line, to sort of ease any questions out of them, put any buyer's remorse to bed before they make that commitment. So do not forget to follow up. Now, closing high-ticket websites comes down to clarity, confidence, and selling results. And once you nail those, price stops being an issue.